There you have it, Cantonese style beef brisket with Daikon radish. Enjoy. So I'm going to try a little bit of this imitation beef using tofu. I put lots of sauces in there to coat the tofu, so see how it tastes. So instead of using beef or other kind of meats, we're going to use tofu. So this is the stew style fried tofu. It's probably a firm tofu. So you can see it's like this. So you can cut it into smaller pieces. Then we're going to marinate the tofu so we get the beef flavor right in the tofu itself. So first we're going to slice up some ginger. So I'm just going to keep the ginger fairly large pieces. This is going to give some flavor to the stew. See, the Daikon radish I buy, it's actually wider. So this one is sort of a long type of Daikon. It's still Daikon, but it's a different kind of Daikon. So we're just going to cut off the top and the bottom. So just like that. And then we're just going to slice the, we're just going to take off the skin with a potato peeler. So you can add other veggies if you like. We're just going to keep it with the Daikon. You can add like carrots, you can add onions, you can add anything that you like, but we're just going to keep it simple with the Daikon here. You just cut it into fairly large pieces. So I'm going to cut it at an angle here like this. So some people like to just slice it, but I just like to cut it at an angle like this, sort of chunky. So you see the tofu here, it looks pretty firm, actually feels pretty firm. So it has been deep fried, so it probably has the texture of meat. So I just finished rinsing these tofu in cold water. So I'm going to cut it into smaller pieces. Just going to cut one, see what it looks like inside. So you see it's still smooth, but it's very firm. It is firm. So I think I'm going to cut it into quarters for each piece. So it'll be like almost like a piece of meat. So we're going to go quarter per piece. So when you cut it, you actually have more surface. When you cut it, you have the surface to absorb the marinade. So for this recipe, I'm going to put some Chou paste, which is a traditional sauce for making stew. So I'm going to put a tablespoon of that in there. So I'm going to put some of this thick soy sauce. It's also known as soybean paste. So this one has been a little bit less thick. It has the molasses in it, and this one, because it's a sauce, it probably has some cornstarch in there to thicken it up. And then we're going to put a tablespoon of brown sugar. Keep in mind these sauces have salt, but I'm going to put maybe a half teaspoon of salt. I use the pink Himalayan salt, which is a natural salt. So these sauces have salt in it, so you have to keep that in mind. For marinade, you can also put in sesame oil. So put in, say, a teaspoon sesame oil if you have it. If you don't, so if you don't have any of these sauces, don't worry. If you have to marinate it, just use dark soy sauce or light soy sauce, which is a regular soy sauce. So it's whatever you have in your kitchen. You can use like a dark soy sauce like this. So I'm going to add a little bit of this dark soy sauce anyway. So I'm just going to put a tablespoon in there. So this will darken the tofu as well. So I'm going to put about a tablespoon in there. You can also put some of this light soy sauce in there. So just put a tablespoon. So usually I use the lower grade. This is the premium brand, so mostly used for dipping. But if you want to use the lower grade, just the regular light soy sauce, that's used for marinating. So just make sure all the pieces are covered. So the soy sauce and the different sauces will color the tofu dark, so it looks like meat. So don't use the soft tofu. The soft tofu is not going to hold up. Even the medium tofu is not going to hold up. So I would use the deep fried tofu. The deep fried tofu has a nice strong coating on it. So you can use it for stew. But if you use the tofu without the deep frying, it's not going to hold up in the stew. So that looks pretty nice. So I'm just going to let this marinate for at least half an hour. And then we're going to get started on the stew itself. Now you can order the products and ingredients that I use in my cooking videos. Just click the link below in the description for the Chinese cooking accessory guide. You can order everything online, including the wok that I use and some of the equipment that I use. So first, preheat a pan at medium to high heat. I'm going to put 3 tablespoons of cooking oil in there. I'm using peanut oil. So we'll put the ginger in first. So just give it a good stir. So these are some of the other ingredients you can put in there. I got a cinnamon stick, 3-star anise. Usually you put the loose leaf bay leaf, but since these are crushed, I'm just going to put it in. Usually you just put the whole bay leaf in there. So when you give this a quick stir fry, just to bring out the flavors of your ingredients. For this stew, you only need to put 3 to 4 cups of water in there. Turn the heat down to low to medium. So the water is already boiling. So I'm going to put the Daikon radish in. The tofu has been marinating for over half an hour. So it kind of looks like beef now. So I'm just going to put some of the soy sauce from the marinade here. So the tofu, I think it'll probably only take about 5 minutes to cook. Just going to cover the pot with a lid, let it simmer for half an hour. For added flavor, you can put some chili oil in there. This is my own homemade chili oil. I just made a fresh batch. So put about a tablespoon in there. This is pretty strong, the way I make it. So just check out my recipe for my homemade chili oil. So here I have 2 tablespoons of cornstarch and 1/3 cup of water. So I'm just going to thicken the stew. So you might not need the whole thing. So just put a little bit in there and just stir it. So I would like to recommend that you cook this the night before. So just let the flavors kind of meld together. So the bay leaves actually bind all the flavors together. And we're going to serve this tomorrow, but just put the tofu in there. Just let it settle for overnight. Ooh, that looks like real beef, even though it's not. I'm going to try a little bit of this imitation beef using tofu, I put lots of sauces in there to coat the tofu, so see how it tastes. Try some of this tofu. Oh, really nice texture. Has a lot of flavor, but you need to add more flavor for this vegetarian beef stew, because you don't have the natural flavor from the beef. So you need to add more flavors, like the chili oil really adds a nice touch. So pretty nice flavor and pretty good texture. Really good. There you have it. Almost Chinese beef stew using tofu. Enjoy. Thanks for checking out my video. Please like and subscribe. Any comments are always welcome. Take care and stay safe.